program on ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು Thirty six or 35 now stop recording. Okay, let us start the discussion on interrupts. Let's just hold on a second. Um, you have to share the screen, right? Here we go. Okay, fine. So interrupts. So of course we can refer both the documents. That is this document. Yes, in this the C program is not given for timers, but basics we'll discuss. Basics of C program for timers we'll discuss later. No problem. First, let us start the timer discussion. Interrupts. Programming. Okay, here we go. Okay, so in a microcontroller, in fact, this is one of the basic difference between a processor and a controller. Where in a microprocessor, we don't find, of course, not in the latest processors, but in older version of processor, we don't find the, what you call interrupts. In 8086, for example, okay, so there is not, a good way to handle the interrupts. But in 8051, we'll find a better no, method of handling the interrupts. Okay, so what is an interrupt? Let us start with that. By the way, what is the okay? Yeah, here we go. We did, okay, here we go. So, what is an interrupt? It is an interrupt is an external or internal event that interrupts the microcontroller to inform that a device needs a service. Let's say something like this, let us say for example, we have connected 8051 microcontroller to an input device. Let us say for example, X keypad. For example, there are many possibilities. X keypad, for example. So this X keypad is interfaced to 8051 microcontroller. So this X keypad has various keys, like as the name suggests, what is X keypad is? It has 16 keys. Okay? That is from it includes numbers 0 to 9 as well as A to F. A to F. Okay. So 0, 1, 2, 3. This keypad you must have seen in our in many devices. For example, in ATM machines there is a X keypad. Of course, it's not an X keypad; it is a different kind of, but there is a keypad device, to which you can provide the input to the device. Okay. So, for example, this device connected to the microcontroller. When we press a particular button on the on the keyboard, okay. So okay. So whenever we press a button on the keyboard, it will send a signal to the microcontroller. So this signal is in the form of an interrupt. Why is an interrupt is because 8051 is performing its normal operation. It is executing some set of instructions. All of a sudden, there will be an interrupt from a particular device. For example, a keyboard or a keypad, or whatever you call it as, an external device. And for example, there's a switch. For example, a switch is connected to the microcontroller. So when this switch is pressed, it will send an interrupt to the um, microcontroller. Okay, so there are different way of providing the interrupt, external interrupts to the microcontroller. Other than this external interrupt, there are some set of internal interrupts. Internal interrupts. Okay, for example, what is one of the example of a internal interrupt? Okay, let's say we are using timer. Okay, for example, let's say I am running timer 0 in mode 1 operation, for example. Okay, so what happens when I am running a timer in a particular mode of operation is that, let us say I start with the initial count of 0000. Okay, so the timer has started. It is counting the internal clock pulses. So as the clock pulse appears, the timer counts up. It always counts up. That we have understood in the previous discussion. So as the clock pulse appears, the count increases. So when it reaches the final count of FFH, since it is a mode 1 operation, it will count 65,536 number of clock pulses. Okay, so on the application of next clock pulse, the count will reset back to 0000. Okay, now the question is, see, in the normal programming, if you've seen the earlier programming guys, for example, in this this is a 5B program. Yesterday I was checking this program. Let us say, for example, this program. In this case, what we did was, it is a counter programming, of course. We are waiting for the overflow flag to set to 1. In this instruction, we are waiting for the overflow flag. In this case, overflow flag is TF1. We are waiting for TF1 to set to 1. Instead of this, if we enable the interrupt due to timer, that is timer 1 in this case, we need not wait for the flag to set to 1. Okay, that is enable the interrupt. Enable, first we have to enable, otherwise it's something like, we have to tell the microcontroller that I'm expecting an interrupt from a timer 1, because I'm using timer 1 in a particular mode of operation. I'm starting the timer. So once I start the timer will count the clock pulse. It will generate it will set the overflow flag TF1 to 1 whenever the timer reaches the final count. So once this happens, generate a interrupt. Generate interrupt. Okay. So when interrupt is generated, it will microcontroller will send a message to the programmer in many ways. Okay. So this is one of the method of one of the source of internal interrupts. Okay. So what happens now is, instead of waiting for the timer to overflow, so when the timer overflows to 0000, TF in our case timer 0, so TF0 will be set to 1. Instead of waiting for so many time, for so long, for the overflow flag to set to 1, what we can do is, we can perform some other operation. Let us say we are performing some other programming, some other program, we are executing some other program. When this timer is started, it is counting the clock pulse. Do not wait till the flag is set to 1. Do some other operation. When the flag is set to 1, generate interrupt. When this interrupt is generated, okay. Just hold on a second. I've got a call from exam section. Just hold on a second. Hello. Sir, namaste. Sir, Ajay sir. ಅದೇ ಸರ್, ಇವರು ಅವರೇ ಅಜಯ್ ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಹೌದು, ಎ ಡಿ ಸಿಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಹಾಂ ಸರ್, 4:30 ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ರಿಮೈಂಡರ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್, ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ಓಕೆ, sorry. Yeah, so we are discussing that till instead of waiting for the timer to flow, what we'll do is we'll do some other job. We're executing some programs. When the overflow occurs, the microcontroller will generate a internal interrupt. Then the normal execution of the program will be stopped, and this interrupt request will be serviced. Okay, so it's something like, somebody comes and interrupt you, requesting you for something, some service, you are interrupted. Okay, if you want, you can service the request, or you can reject also, something like that. Okay, so it generates the interrupt. Whenever the interrupt is generated, microcontroller has to service the interrupt. Especially, it applies to both the internal interrupt due to timer, or due to external interrupt from the one of the devices. For example, it can be a switch, or it can be an external device, some external device connected to microcontroller, or it can be keypad. Example devices. Okay, so all these are possibilities. So thereby, interrupt is basically a external or internal event which generates interrupts to the microcontroller, which has to be serviced by the microcontroller. Okay, so microcontroller can reject also, but if it has enabled the interrupt, it is understood that the microcontroller will service the interrupt. Okay, interrupt the service request by the external or internal interrupt source. A single microcontroller can serve several devices by two ways. Okay, at a given point in time, microcontroller can service only one interrupt request, but the way it does the service the request is one of the two possible ways. One is known as interrupt method. Interrupt method. So what is this interrupt method? In this interrupt method, whenever any device needs service, the device notifies the microcontroller by sending an interrupt signal. Okay, just like what we discussed now. Okay, so whenever, let us say, for example, a device requires 8050 microcontroller's service, it will generate an interrupt. Generate interrupt means it will send signal to the microcontroller in the form of interrupt, and microcontroller will service the request. Okay, so this is what is known as interrupt method, because what will happen is, to this microcontroller, multiple devices are connected. Not a single device. Multiple devices will be connected. So there is a possibility that all the devices will generate the interrupt. Let us say this is device one. Let us say this is device two, for example. Let us say there is one more device three, and similarly there is a device four. What happens if all the devices generate interrupt? Microcontroller cannot service all the requests at a time. It will take up request one at a time. Okay. So that is known as the interrupt method. So whenever a device sends a request for servicing, upon receiving the interrupt signal by the device, okay, either it's the internal source or the external device, the microcontroller interrupts whatever it is doing and services the device. Okay, so microcontroller is, by default, it is executing some instructions. So whenever, let's say, there are 10 cores, for example, 10 lines. Okay, when this instruction is being executed, when this instruction is being executed, external device sends a interrupt to the microcontroller. Whenever it sends interrupt to the microcontroller, 8051 will stop the execution of this program. That is, for example, let us say this instruction is being executed. Okay? At that point in time, external device generates a interrupt. What does the microcontroller does is, as soon as it senses a interrupt from a particular device, it will complete the execution of the present instruction. It will complete first. It will complete the execution of the present instruction. After completion of the present instruction, it will jump to a location in the internal ROM space. It will jump to a location in the internal ROM space, where set of codes are stored in the memory, which is called as interrupt service routine. Routine means there is a program. Routine means this is a interrupt. ISR stands for interrupt service. Service routine. R stands for routine. Routine means there is a program. Interrupt service program or interrupt service routine. Okay. So whenever there is an interrupt from a particular device, microcontroller will jump to the internal. In fact, it is already executing in the program in the same internal ROM space. From this point, it will jump to some other point in the internal ROM space, where it will execute this program to service the request by external device in the form of a interrupt. Okay, so serves the devices. The program which is associated with the interrupt is called as a interrupt service routine. It is also called as a interrupt handler. Okay, that is this program, this set of program which are executed uh, on the request by external device in the form of interrupt is called as a interrupt service routine, or is also called as a interrupt handler. Interrupt handler is a program. This is a set of lines. That's it. Fine. So the other method of servicing the interrupt, not servicing, other method of generating the interrupt, or other method of detecting the or servicing the request by the interrupt source is called as a polling method. Is called as a polling method. Okay. What is polling method? Microcontroller continuously monitors the status of a given device. For example, let us say for example, um, okay. So let us say for example, okay. Let me write down the diagram again. 8051. There are multiple devices connected to the microcontroller. Multiple devices connected to the microcontroller. Let us say this is device 1, device 2, likewise, 3, 4, 5, 6, multiple devices. I mean to say. Okay? Now, what happens is that 8051, what it does is, it will monitor these devices connected to the microcontroller through I/O ports. Through I/O ports. I/O port pins. Through I/O port pins. Okay. For example, it starts with the first device. It will check whether this device has generated any interrupt. If this device has not generated any interrupt, it will go to the next device. Okay. It will check whether D2 device has generated any interrupt. No interrupt, it will go to the third device. Like this, it will check all the devices one at a time. If any device, for example, let's say sixth device has generated the interrupt, for example. Okay. Then it will service the request by this device. Until this device request is serviced, it will not accept any interrupt from any other device. For example, the sixth device is being serviced because it has a request. Its request is being serviced. Seventh device will generate an interrupt while the request of sixth device is being serviced. Okay? Microcontroller will not service the request by the seventh device until and unless it completes the request by the sixth device. After completing the completion of service of the sixth device, it will go to the next device, that is device number 7. It will service the request by the device number 7. After completing its service request, it will go to the next device. Like this, it continues. Okay. Like this, it will check all the devices, and whenever any device has a request, it will service the request. Okay. This is what is known as a polling method. This is what is known as a polling method. Okay. So when the condition is met, it performs the service. What is the condition? Okay. Okay. What is condition is that, for example, let us say device number 6 has a request. It has a request for some function. Let's say it wants to print a document, for example. Print any document, or it wants memory allocation, something like this. It wants some service. It wants some service by the device from the CPU. Okay. For example, guys, let's say your CPU is laptop or desktop is connected to printer. Multiple device wants a printer. A printer connected to, let's say this is the CPU. For example, assume that I'll take another page. Okay. So let's say this is the CPU. It can be your PC or it can be your laptop, for example. It's connected to a printer. Let's say it's connected to printer. Okay. Multiple functions or multiple applications want the printout at the same time. So definitely CPU cannot print more than one document at a time. Printer cannot print more than one document at a time. So what does the CPU does is, it will queue the functions. Queue means it will arrange the task or functions in a particular order. One by one, document will be printed by the printer. Okay. So thereby, if multiple devices request service, and if a particular device has a request as a resources available, for example, let us say this is the document 1, this is the document 2. For example, document 1 wants a printer or wants a service by the printer. Printer is available, document will 1 will get the printout. Document 2 at the same time want the service by the microcontroller, so CPU, to print a document, but printer is already allocated to document 1. So document 2 cannot be printed. Why? Because it doesn't have the resource to service its request. Okay, in that case, document 2 is sent to queue list. Okay, this is the queue list where it has to wait till its resource is available. Okay, this availability of resource is called as a condition. This availability of resource is called as a condition. Okay, so based on the condition that the resource is available, the request will be serviced by the microcontroller. Okay, so that is the meaning of a conditions. So after it moves on to the monitor, the next device until everyone is serviced. Okay, that means it will jump from device to device to check whether is there any request by a particular device. So if there is any request, that particular device will be serviced. If not, it will go to the next device. Okay. So these are the two devices, two methods of servicing the request. A polling method can monitor the status of several devices and serve each of them as certain conditions are met. This hold on a second, I got a call. Okay. Just a second, please hold on. Good afternoon, madam. ಹೌದು ಮೇಡಮ್, ಹೌದು. ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅದೇ ಅದು ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಸ್ಬೇಕು ಮೇಡಮ್. ಹಾಂ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಹೌದಾ ಮೇಡಮ್? ಓಕೆ ಸರಿ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಸುಗಂಧಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಒಬ್ರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಟೀಮಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾನು ನಂದನು ಸುಗಂಧಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ನಮ್ಮೂರಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸುಪ್ರಿಯ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, ಸುಪ್ರಿಯ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಈಗ ಸುಗಂಧಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸುಪ್ರಿಯ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಜಂಟಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅವರು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅದೇ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಇದು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಇನ್ನು ಒನ್ ಡೇ ವೀಕ್ ಅವರು ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ಈ ಫ್ಲೋರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಟ್ಯೂಟೋರಿಯಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ಹಾಂ ಹೌದು ಮೇಡಮ್, ಹೌದು. ಅವ್ರು ಬರೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ನ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಫ್ಯಾಕಲ್ಟಿ ಹತ್ರ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಹಾಂ ಹೌದು ಮೇಡಮ್, ಹೌದು. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹಾಂ ಹಾಂ. Yes, okay, let's continue. So, the polling method can monitor the status of several devices at a time, but it can service each one of them based on some conditions, as we discussed. Based on whether the resource is available. If the resource is available, that is a particular request will be serviced. Otherwise, it has to wait. For example, document 2 printer is not available. It has to wait for the printer's availability. So based on that, its request can be serviced. Okay. So the polling method is not efficient. Is not efficient since it wastes much of the microcontroller's time by polling devices They do not need a service. For example, let us say it is example. Let us tell you. Let us say, for example, polling method device. Microcontroller is scanning, monitoring all the devices. Is going. Let's say, for example, fourth device it is monitoring. It is waiting for the fourth device to send the interrupt. It waits for some time. Okay. After some time, if the fourth device does not send any request, it will go to fifth device. Okay. Meantime, what happens is that when the fourth device is being monitored, ninth device has a request. Okay, it has an urgent service to be for urgent request to be service. What happens is that microcontroller is spending much time waiting for the fourth device to send the request. Okay, but ninth device has a request. In the case, ninth device has to wait till its turn. After fourth, the microcontroller will jump to the fifth device. From there, sixth source or seventh. After that, eighth. After that, only ninth device will get its service. Okay. So this is a waste of time, because unnecessarily they are wasting the microcontroller's time by making sources wait because of the those sources which does not have any request. Okay. So that's using this instruction we are waiting. That itself is a it's a waste of time. The unnecessary time is being spent in waiting for the request by a particular device. Okay. Whereas now comparison of polling method with the interrupt method is that interrupt method has advantage in that the microcontroller can serve many devices, not all at the same time, not possible. It will service only one device at a time. Each device can get the attention of the microcontroller based on the priority. For example, okay. So let us say we have let us discuss like this. So for example, this is 805 microcontroller. Multiple devices are connected. Let us say, for example, five to six devices are connected. Let us say this is the first device, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eight devices are connected to microcontroller. For example, okay. So the priority of these devices. This is D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7, and D8. Okay, so there are 8 devices. Okay, from D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7, and D8. Let's say there are 8 devices. Okay, now each devices are connected to microcontroller through some port pins. Okay, some let's say port 0 pin, for example, port 0 or port 1 pins. What happens is that each device is assigned with a priority. That is, for example, device 1 has the highest priority. Priority number, this is the priority number P1, priority number 1, highest priority. So D2 has the second priority P2. Likewise, P3. Device 3 has the next priority. D4 has the next priority. Similarly, P5, P6, P7, and P8. Okay, that means device 1 has the highest priority. So this is the highest priority, whereas device 8 has the lowest priority. Device 8 has the lowest priority. Okay. Now let us say, for example, D5 is being serviced. Device 5 is being serviced by the microcontroller. Then D5 is being serviced. Let us say D2 generates an interrupt. Device 2 generates an interrupt. Microcontroller will check which device has the priority. Out of these two devices, which device has the highest priority? Since D2 has higher priority over this is the priority order. So D2 has the highest priority over the D5. D2 device will be serviced by the microcontroller. After completion of servicing of the D2, then it will take up the D5 for servicing. Okay? Because both the device D2 and D5 will generate the interrupt at the same time. Out of these two devices are many devices. For example, D3 also generates interrupt. Let us say, for example, so 3 devices are generating the interrupt, but D2 will be serviced because it has the highest priority compared to D3 as well as D5. In this case, this is what is known as a interrupt method. This interrupt method, the advantage is that the device with the highest priority will get the service, and the device with the lowest priority. Okay, for example, D8 has the lowest priority, so highest priority device will always get priority. Okay, for institution. What is the drawback of this interrupt method is that there is a device 8 has the lowest priority. Okay, so whenever the device 8 generates an interrupt, there is a device 8 and device 1 generates interrupt, for example. Okay, device 8 and device 1 is generating an interrupt. Okay, whenever device 8 generates interrupt, this device 8 will never be serviced because the device 1 has a request. Device 1 has the highest priority compared to device 8, and hence device 8 will never be serviced by the microcontroller because it has the least priority. Okay, so that's the basic drawback of a interrupt method. Okay, that the least priority interrupts are never serviced by the microcontrollers. Why? Because of course, until and unless highest priority interrupt does not generate any interrupt, then only the lowest priority interrupt will get a service by the microcontroller. Otherwise, it will never get a service by the microcontroller. So that's the basic drawback of a interrupt method. So for the polling method, it is not possible to assign priority since it checks all devices in the round robin fashion. What is the round robin fashion says? Uh, okay, round robin fashion means it will start with a particular device. Let us say, for example, it will start with the first device. It checks, it monitors. It has an interrupt? No. If it does not have an interrupt, it will go to the next device. Only if it has an interrupt, it will service the request. Device 2, it has an interrupt, it will service. Then it will go to device 3. Like this, it will check the device's status, whether they have an interrupt. Only if they have an interrupt, that interrupt will be serviced. Otherwise, it will go to the next device. So it will assign some time for each device. Within that time frame, if a device generates interrupt, it will be serviced. Otherwise, it will go to the next device. It's a round robin fashion. This is known as a round robin fashion or method of polling. Round robin fashion of method of polling the devices. Polling means it is monitoring. It is checking. It is checking the status of the devices. Interrupt status of the devices. So microcontroller can also ignore or mask the device request or interrupt for service. So this masking is not possible for the polling method. Why? Because see, there is no priority in the polling method. There is no priority. Okay. For example, when let's say device 3 is being serviced, uh, uh, whenever another device generates interrupt, it has to wait. You see, when 3 is being serviced, sixth device generates interrupt, it cannot be serviced. Why? Because it has to wait for its turn. It has to wait for its turn until another sixth device will never get any attention by the microcontroller. Okay, so thereby this masking or ignoring of an interrupt is not possible in case of a polling method, but it is possible in case of a interrupt method. Interrupt method, what happens is that devices can be if it is okay, this one or interrupt method. So in interrupt method, what happens is that if interrupts are disabled by the microcontroller, no device can generate an interrupt. Even the highest priority device can also not generate any interrupt. Even if it generates interrupt, there is a, for example, D1 generates interrupt. Since interrupts are disabled, microcontroller does not services the devices until and unless interrupts are enabled by the microcontroller. No device will get any service by the microcontroller. Okay, so this is the basics of a interrupts in a microcontroller based devices. Just hold on a second. So what is the here we go. So okay. So every interrupt there must be an interrupt service working or interrupt handler. Okay. For example, let us say in this context, let us say device one generates interrupt. What is the other color possible? Yeah, let us say device one. Device one generates interrupt. When device one generates it, okay, let me erase some part of this and let me write. Okay, let me erase this. Okay, yes, is this? Yes. So let us say, for example, device one generates interrupt. Okay. So first of all, let's say 8051. This is the ROM space. This is the internal ROM space of the microcontroller. Okay, ROM space. These are the programs. These are the programs. Internal ROM space. Now what happens is that out of these programs, some part of the program is the ASR, interrupt service routine, for a particular source of interrupt. Let us say microcontroller is executing the normal program. Device one generates the interrupt through particular port pin. Whenever, let us say, the microcontroller is executing this instruction, whenever there is an interrupt due to, let us say, device one, for example, what does the microcontroller does is it will jump to a particular location in the internal ROM space where the interrupt service routine program is stored. Okay? It will continue the execution of the this interrupt service routine. It will start the execution of interrupt service routine. After completing the interrupt service routine, it will go back to the main program from where it left off for the execution of the interrupt service routine. For example, next, let us say device 2 generates interrupt. For example, okay, when device 2 generates interrupt while microcontroller is executing this instruction. For example, okay, let us say device 2 is generated the interrupt. What does microcontroller does is it will jump to another set of program where the ISR of device 2 is stored. So this is the set of instruction for ISR of device 1. These are the set of instructions for ISR of device 2. Okay. So the ISR of device 2 is executed. Once the ISR is completed, it will go back to the main program from where it left off. Okay. So this set of instructions corresponding to particular source of interrupt is called as a interrupt service routine. Okay, so when an interrupt is okay, so that is the meaning of this point. So the interrupt service routine is also called as a interrupt handlers. When an interrupt is invoked, that is whenever interrupt is generated by the microcontroller runs the interrupt service routine, automatically jumps. This I'll show you in the compiler. In the next class I'll show you in the compiler. So whenever there is an interrupt by a particular source, for example, it is a D1. Okay, for example, it will automatically, what else the microcontroller does is it will complete the execution of the present instruction. Sorry. Okay. It will complete the execution of the present instruction. It will jump to its ISR, interrupt service routine, or interrupt handler. It will execute the interrupt service routine. Then only it will go back to the main program. Until and unless it will not go back to the main program until it completes the execution of the interrupt service routine, which is also called as a interrupt handler. When an interrupt is invoked, the microcontroller runs the interrupt service routine automatically. For every interrupt, there is a fixed location in memory that holds the address of its ISR. This point we'll discuss later. Don't worry. That means for every interrupt source, there is a fixed memory in the microcontroller, so that um, it knows what to do. It knows what to do from which location. So that's this we'll discuss later. This point we'll discuss later. So the group of memory locations set aside to hold the address of the ASR is called as an interrupt vector table. Yes, this point also will these 2 points we'll understand later. Okay, don't worry for time being, because anyway next point is this only that we'll discuss. Okay. So upon activation of the interrupt, the microcontroller goes through the following step. Okay, that means what microcontroller should do whenever there is an interrupt. Let me take another page. So let us say, for example, this is the internal ROM space. Okay, this is the internal ROM space. So there is a separate set of locations, okay, allocated for the ISR. Separate set of locations allocated for interrupt service routines. Okay, in these locations, ISR is stored. ISR for various sources of the interrupts are stored in this memory. So in the other set of memory, the main program is stored. On the set of memory, main program is stored. Okay. Whenever the main program is being run, some device generates interrupt. Let us say device 1 generates interrupt. When device 1 generates interrupt, what is the microcontroller does is it will complete the execution of the present instruction. Then it will jump to the particular location in the memory where the ASR of that particular source of interrupt is stored. So for example, this is the ASR of device 1, for example, device 1. So this will be executed. Okay. So the microcontroller, okay, what is the procedure to be followed whenever the microcontroller gets an interrupt? Okay. The first step, what it does is it finishes the instruction it is executing and saves the address of the instruction, next instruction on the stack memory. Okay, fine. What the microcontroller should do whenever there is an interrupt? Yes, let us say, for example, let us understand in this way. Okay, so let us say there are this so many instructions is confusing. I'll take only 5 instruction guys, just to make our understanding simple. Okay, so this is the first instruction, second, third, fourth, and fifth. For example, main program is only you know 5 instructions. For example, okay, when second instruction is being executed, the device 1 generates a interrupt. First step, what is the first step is, first microcontroller will complete the execution of the present instruction. When the present instruction is being executed, microcontroller will be pointing to the next instruction. Somebody is on the line, yes? I think somebody on the line or okay, no problem. Okay. So when the present instruction is being executed, microcontroller is pointing to the next instruction using program counter, because we know that program counter is a 16-bit register which automatically points to the next instruction to be executed by the microcontroller when present instruction is being executed by the microcontroller. Okay. So what should happen is, whenever a device generates an interrupt, microcontroller should stop the execution of the should complete the execution of the present instruction. It should jump to the ASR of that particular instruction. ASR of that particular interrupt source. Somebody is on the line. Harapada, Shwanta. Okay, fine. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So it should complete the execution of the present instruction. It should jump to the ASR of that particular source of interrupt. Okay. After jumping to the ASR, it will execute the ASR. After executing interrupt service routine of that particular source, it should jump back to this third instruction. Why? Because it has to continue the execution of the main program. Okay. Let us say, for example, when third instruction is being executed, one more device D2 generates interrupt. Okay. So what the microcontroller should do? It should complete the execution of the current third instruction. Then it should jump to the ASR of that particular source, device 2. Okay, it should service the request of the device 2, and after the completion of the service of the device 2, it should go back to the fourth line of instruction, fourth instruction. Okay, the question here is that, for example, when the device 1 generated the interrupt, second line is being executed, microcontroller will complete the execution of the second line. It will jump to ASR of the second line. After completing the execution of the ASR of the device 1, it should go back to the main program, that is the third line of the main program. The question here is that, how does the microcontroller knows the address of the third instruction? Address of this instruction. Okay, this has some address. What is that? How does the microcontroller knows? How does it remembers? Okay, so what does the microcontroller does is, whenever an interrupt occurs because of through some particular source of interrupt, microcontroller will complete the execution of the present instruction. Before it take a jump to the ASR, interrupt service routing or interrupt handler, it will save the content of PC on the top of stack memory. On the top of stack memory. On the top of stack memory. Why? Because whenever the ISR is executed, ASR execution is completed, it should go back to the main program. To know the address of the main program, its content address should be available in the PC. Okay, so thereby before the microcontroller jumps to the ASR. It will save the address of the content of this file, because when the present instruction is being executed, PC is already pointing to the next instruction to be executed by the microcontroller, and hence this content of PC has to be saved on the top of stack memory as PCH and PCL. What is PCH? Is program counter high, and PCL is program counter low. These two bytes, okay, each is of 8-bit in size. Each is of 8-bit in size. This 8-bit program 16-bit program counter content as PCH and PCL are stored on the top of stack memory. Then it will jump to the ISR. It will execute the ISR. After executing the ISR, it will go back to the main program. That main program address is copied from the top of stack memory to the program counter. So now, when the top two locations of the program stack memory is copied, microcontroller knows from what location it has to continue the execution of the program, and from that location, microcontroller will continue the execution of the instructions. Okay, so that is the first step. In the second step, it also saves the current status of all the interrupts internally. Okay, it will save the internally, not on the top of stack memory, because on the top of stack memory only the program counter address should be available. Only the program counter address should be available, nothing else. Okay, so thereby status of the other interrupt sources are internally saved. It will not be saved on the top of stack memory. Okay. So now it jumps after saving the content of PC under stack memory, and after saving the status of the interrupts internally, microcontroller will jump to a fixed location in the memory called as interrupt vector table that holds the address of ASR. For example, in this diagram, there is a device D1 generates interrupt. Okay. So after saving the content of PC on the top of stack memory and saving its status of other interrupts, microcontroller will jump to particular location in the memory. For example, the address is, let us say, 0003H. For example, it will jump to that location in the memory where the ASR of that particular device is stored. Okay, it will execute the ASR of that particular device. After executing the interrupt service routine, it will go back to the main program. Okay, so this address where the interrupt service routine is stored is called as a interrupt vector table. Vector means address. Interrupt address table, which is also called as interrupt vector table, where the address of the ASR is stored, or the actual ISR is stored. Is it the address or the actual program of the ASR? That we will discuss later. So for timing, you understand that whenever there is an interrupt, microcontroller will jump to a particular location in the memory. Memory means internal ROM space, where the ISR of a particular source of interrupt is stored. That ISR address where the ISR is stored is called as a interrupt vector table. Okay, so we'll see what is that interrupt vector table in little detail. Okay, so next step is the microcontroller gets the address of the ISR from the interrupt vector table and jumps to it. Okay, so whenever the microcontroller gets an interrupt, it will jump to the particular address. The address is stored in the interrupt vector table. Okay, so from that address, it starts executing the program, that is interrupt service routine, until it reaches the last instruction of the interrupt service routine called as a RETI, return from interrupt. RETI stands for return from interrupt. Okay, so whenever the return from interrupt, in this case, the last instruction is RETI, return from interrupt. When return from interrupt is executed, it will go back to the main program. And continue with the execution of the main program. Okay. So next step is upon executing the RETI instruction, the microcontroller returns to the place where it was interrupted. For example, microcontroller was interrupted when it is executing the second line of main program, second instruction. So after executing the ISR, it will go back to the third instruction. Why it will not go back to second instruction? Because it was already completed. Execution of second instruction was completed. Then the microcontroller jumped to the ASR, whose address is stored in the interrupt vector table. After completing the ASR execution, that is after executing the RETI instruction, it will go back to the third instruction and continue the execution of the main program. Okay, so before it goes to the main program, first it has to get the address of the main program, because see what happens is that when interrupt comes, the content of PC is saved on the top of stack memory. That's right. But this PC should know from where to continue the execution of the program. So after saving the content of PC on the top of stack memory, what does the microcontroller does is it will copy the address of the ISR from the interrupt vector table to the PC program counter. After copying the address of the interrupt vector table to the PC, the microcontroller will continue the execution of the interrupt service routine from that particular address. After executing RET instruction, it has to go back to the main program whose address is available on the top of the stack memory, and this is copied into program counter. Now it knows from where to continue the execution of the program. Okay, so first it has to copy the content of PC from the top of stack memory, from where it will continue the execution of the program. Okay, so it starts to execute from that address. That is, it will execute the main program from that particular address. Okay, so these are the operations performed by the microcontroller whenever it gets an interrupt from a particular source of interrupt. Yes, okay. So the what do you call, the different sources of interrupt and other details like interrupt vector table we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, we'll continue from the next class. Yes, thank you. Thanks for joining. See you soon. Take care. Bye.